Welcome to our alumni and our students and our partners and our faculty and our students and our friends to our inaugural virtual alumni engagement event, Rutgers Engage. It's great to have all of you here. We have many great representatives from the university here, including our president, Jonathan Holloway, that you will hear from in a few minutes. From President Holloway's office and staff, we have our very own Provost Moke, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. We have Nevin Kessler, President of the Rutgers Foundation, Dr. Andrea Bruchel, Chief of Staff and the Senior VP for Administration. From Rutgers, New Brunswick, we have my boss, Chancellor Christopher Malloy, our new provost, Fran Conway, provost and executive vice chancellor for academic affairs, Felicia McGinty, executive vice chancellor for administration, Jimmy Swinson, vice provost for academic affairs, Courtney McAnuff, vice chancellor for enrollment management, my fellow deans, Laura Lawson from the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, and Gwendolyn Mahone from the School of Health Professions. We also have many members of the school and school department industry advisory boards, including Ken Johnson, who's also a member of the Board of Trustees. This is the School of Engineering's first virtual alumni social event. This event came about due to the challenges the world is facing now with the unprecedented pandemic, as well as so many justice and equity. One of the bright spots is how comfortable we've all become with these virtual gatherings. Current technology fortunately provides us the opportunity to gather remotely with friends and family and our alumni and students and faculty. At the School of Engineering, we can hold events with many more of our alumni who are spread across the US and around the world, and this is something we now hope to do more of going forward. Our alumni have been very generous about giving their time to mentoring students and coming back to speak about their own careers. Very much advancing what President Holloway likes to call at Rutgers our beloved community. Also, despite the challenges of the past years, or especially since March, our faculty, staff, and students are still making tremendous progress. Students and faculty have found ways to make remote learning work. While it's not the same experience, and we can't wait to get back together, I'm proud of how quickly we've all been able to pivot to make the remote learning work. Our classes are continuing, the research continues, the student organizations continue to meet with each other. In fact, we had 2 virtual career fairs for engineering students that were successfully organized just last month. One of the very special things that happened was the students coming together to complete their capstone design projects and do it in actually a very special way. And in the remote environment, so many more of our alumni were able to see the report outs of these capstone design projects and really some of the very innovative things that our students are doing. Also, I'm proud to report that progress continues on research. Faculty continue to write proposals and win major awards from federal agencies and from industry. We have work going in big data and AI and machine learning. As it relates to smart cities, President Holloway and I were just discussing the governor's announcement today about the Innovation Hub in New Brunswick. Part of that project is New Brunswick as a smart mobility testing ground, being led by our centers of Kate and WinLab. There are a few of these mobility testing grounds around the country, but the New Brunswick Mobility Testing Ground is the one that's actually in a live and acting city. Also, big data and AI as it relates to advanced manufacturing, the health sciences, and cybersecurity. Just today, we participated in the kickoff of SciManny, the Cybersecurity Manufacturing Innovation Institute, in which we're partnering with the UT system. Also, lots of work on climate change developments related to wind energy, biofuels, sustainable infrastructure, both here in New Jersey and nationally. We also continue to be working closely with our colleagues at Rutgers and in industry in battling the COVID-19 pandemic. As I mentioned, our over 200 faculty are actively securing funding from leading sources, including the National Science Foundation, the National Institutes of Health, DARPA, the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, Industry, and more. Just this year, the school was recognized as an exemplar for our programs in increasing diversity among our 5,000 engineering students, recognized by the American Society for Engineering Education, the National Action Council for Minorities in Engineering, and by the National Academies of Engineering, Sciences, and Medicine. Let me take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. The primary event sponsor is Raytheon, represented by Tom Kennedy here this evening. Aircastle is our networking and social hour sponsor. The platinum sponsors include BlackRock, Phillips 66, PSEG, the Eve and Mars Slanger Family Foundation, and TransDigm. Gold sponsors are Constellation Energy and Janssen, a J&J company. And let me mention all of our 19 sponsors that have so generously donated to make this event a financial success to support our students. You can find details about our sponsors on the web platform. This year has been especially challenging for so many of our students. As this became apparent to the deans and staff and faculty in late spring, we offered support for our emergency fund for helping with some basic needs that actually help students get through the virtual learning with necessary equipment like laptops, and help with basic necessities like rent and food assistance and so much more. And it became clear that this emergency fund would continue to be important. That's why we decided to direct the funds from this event to the Student Emergency Fund, and I'm proud to announce that we're well on our way to our goal of $150,000. Many thanks to our corporate sponsors and all of you who are here that contributed to this effort, and making our very first virtual alumni social event a success from a fundraising perspective. And now I'm delighted to welcome Jonathan Holloway, the 21st president of Rutgers University, to our event tonight. President Holloway joined Rutgers in July, a challenging time in so many ways to begin his Rutgers career. But I'm delighted to say he's been a very visible, if virtual, presence on campus as he begins to define his presidency and implement his ambitious goals centered around the ideal of a beloved community, the importance of being relentless in our pursuit of academic excellence, and the need to develop strategic institutional clarity. These are all ideals that are at the core of our goals here at the School of Engineering. Please join me in welcoming our 21st president, Jonathan Holloway, to the floor.
Thank you for that introduction, Dean Ferris. You actually stole my points. I was going to, have my whole event talk about these three ideas, which I will come back to. Before I do that, though, I wanted to thank all of you for participating in this and for demonstrating your willingness to be experimental and innovative, and in this case, entrepreneurial for the best cause possible, given this really challenging era we're all living through. I joined the community officially on July 1, as you know. I was announced on January 21st. And while we knew that there was this thing called COVID-19 existing in the world. It was far from clear, unless you're an epidemiologist, that it was already living amongst us in the United States. And we now know, of course, it was. But that was January 21st. Within 6 weeks, Rutgers had to go virtual overnight, as did so many other universities, and pivoted in a really quite impressive way. But in that period of time, you'll understand that the things that I thought, my first impression was, the presidency I thought I was going to get is now gone. And I felt sorry for myself for about a day, then reminded myself COVID didn't care who I was. This was not personal. And that I needed to buck up and grow up a little bit and move forward. It was really exciting or reassuring to see so many people in the Rutgers community I met during my transition who are going through an incredibly difficult time and yet had a sense of resolve about them. It's like, we will solve this. We don't know how yet. We're going to solve this and get through to the other side. And I know that this is the ethos that engineers bring to everything. Engineers love a complicated problem. Like, yeah, we're going to solve it. We don't know how yet, but we're going to do it. So I feel like I'm talking to a population that is at the core of Rutgers' ability to be resolute and resilient in the face of this really difficult challenge. So I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm particularly thrilled to be here because the challenge that you're addressing tonight through this fundraiser, through this new intervention, is exactly the right thing. We are facing an enormous set of challenges at the university. I mean, throughout the country, but for the university. And we need creative ideas about how to manage our way forward. We've seen those creative ideas expressed through innovation with Rutgers saliva test. We've seen that innovation expressed through our faculty who pivoted in 2 weeks and went from a in-person educational experience to one that is by and large remote. We've seen it in our students who, Lord knows, were pained by the change. Nobody wanted the change, but they found a way to pivot and in large measure are proceeding forward in what one could hope is essentially good humor. Like, this is a bad situation. We understand it, but we're going to find a way forward. And I know the real star of the show is coming up after me. I had the pleasure of meeting the next speaker, Kingl Patel, just in the electronic backstage before coming on board. And you all are in for a real treat. It's nice of you to be patient with me, but the real star is coming up. But the students have demonstrated incredible resiliency through all of this too. And this I find particularly exciting. When I was approached about being asked if I would put my name in the hat to be a candidate for the presidency, I hesitated, not because of Rutgers, but because of my family. Our son is a senior in high school this year, and we knew we didn't want to move him, so we'd be commuting. Clearly, I saw something so compelling at Rutgers that I put my name in the hat, and now we're navigating a commuting relationship. What I saw that was so compelling is I saw in a major research university, one of the most important ones in the country, I saw also a way of being that spoke about the democratic possibility of this country, that Rutgers embodied the democratic possibility. And what I mean by that is that Rutgers is a place that has opened its doors historically for first-generation families, lower-income families, students from underrepresented minority groups. And it has said, all of you have talent. All of you have something to give to us. If you come to us, together we are going to do something special. For me, I'm a historian of the United States. You may think I'm being hyperbolic, but I believe this deeply. For me, that is what this country is all about. Bringing people of disparate backgrounds together, different traditions, different values, different ideas, bring them together to solve a problem. In this case, solving the problem is democracy. How will we solve the problem of realizing democracy? Engineers come together to solve problems. And while I'm not looking to the engineers at Rutgers to solve the puzzles of democracy, I do know that because of who they are, the worlds they come from, the fact that they are coming from all different kinds of backgrounds, they are embodied in an embodied way doing that work, trying to solve the problem of democracy, trying to make the place better. The place may be a lab, it may be a community, it may be the state, it may be the nation, but it's certainly also the world. And you saw a taste of that in that really beautiful opening video of all the ways that Rutgers engineering is doing the good work of changing the world. It's enormously exciting. Now, when we think about the challenge that we're facing, it's not just about a virus. We understand what we're up against there, but it's also about the different effects that a COVID landscape has had upon our larger communities. And this is where the emergency fund is so critical. We know in higher ed that people from especially lower incomes, if they are faced with an emergency of even $500 or $700, the odds of them being able to stay in school there are long odds, simply because they have less resources to fall back upon. And once you are out of school and facing that $500 hurdle, that $1,000 hurdle, getting back is really, really hard. And this, to me, this evening is an expression of something that says, no, we're not going to let that happen. We believe in you. We believe in what you bring to us at Rutgers. You're a part of Rutgers, after all. We believe in your potential to make a difference in this campus, on this campus, in the state, in this nation, in the world. We need to have you here. So let us find ways to lower those hurdles so that you can simply be another amazing Rutgers student, not one who's trying to figure out how to pay the bills at the end of the month, not one who's trying to find a way to put food on the table, not one who is trying to figure out how to afford that textbook. This emergency fund is an incredible affirmative statement that you too believe in the democratic possibility of a Rutgers education, that you understand the transformative potential of a Rutgers education, taking someone from this place in their life to a whole other kind of place with skills that they can translate to so many other platforms. That is incredibly exciting. I hope you can sense my excitement, and I hope you feel it as well. So the dean talked about my goals of talking about being relentless in a push for academic excellence, trying to find ways to simplify the complexities of a large research university, but also this issue of a beloved community. And I've been talking around these topics for the last seven or so minutes. Let me hone in on them right now. Of course, my first priority is getting us back into business because COVID has just done a number on all of us. As we come back, though, we must not lose sight of the importance of our academic enterprise. It is our reason for existing. And we want to have to identify talent at all ranks everywhere we can. And engineering certainly has a great tradition of doing this. This is the best engineering school in the region, and we want to make it better and better. And so we've got to keep a relentless attention on improving the academic enterprise, improving the talents all around us. And we're going to do that. We need to make sure while we're doing it, we are lowering hurdles so that the path towards excellence is easier to achieve. I've talked about the economic emergency hurdles that we're trying to lower right now, but I'm talking about many more hurdles than that. That when you're dealing with, especially a large public university, we're a massive enterprise, it's just going to be complicated. We're trying to find ways to make it less complicated. The last piece is the beloved community. And this is about trying to recognize that democratic potential and tapping into it. Excellence, I firmly believe, can be found everywhere. You just have to be intentional about trying to find it. And when you find it, you need to be intentional about cultivating it, making that talent feel that it is part of a community. And if there are hurdles in the way, lowering those hurdles. Not that you're giving people a handout, but you're recognizing that there are structural impediments to success that a strong institution can lower, because we are interested in trying to help people achieve success so they can change their family's trajectory, their own trajectory, their community's trajectory. If we can find a way to energize Rutgers in these ways, we will change the world. And we should want to do nothing less than that. With your help, we can do it. And you're going to hear in a few moments from someone who is doing it, making a huge difference, and represents in the most wonderful way the promise of our future. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitments. Thank you for your generosity. And I turn the microphone back over.
Thank you so much for your words, President Holloway. Really kind words. Hi, everybody. My name is Kingl, and I'm a senior studying electrical and computer engineering and computer science with a minor in Spanish. I'm honored to be here with you tonight to celebrate the Rutgers community, its people, facilities, research, and programs. This community is where my passion for learning is fulfilled by amazing opportunities both in and outside the classroom. Engineering at Rutgers provides so many opportunities to connect with fellow students towards a common mission, and I'm really proud of the work that I've been able to do here. A little bit about myself. I'm a member of the Riley Douglas Engineering Living Learning community, whose goals are to recruit and retain more women in engineering while preparing us for successful careers. I also serve as the external vice president for the Rutgers Society of Women Engineers, which, among many other activities, helps coordinate the university's largest student-run career fair. I'm also the honors envoy for the Engineering Honors Academy, where I help develop and enrich student programs and professional development events. And off campus and my industry experience, I've interned at both General Motors and Facebook, and I'm excited to be returning to Facebook full-time as a software engineer upon graduation this May. I feel so fortunate to be part of a place that's enriched my education in so many ways. We are a community that's here for each other and that has never been as apparent as it is right now. Needless to say, we've all faced unprecedented challenges this year on top of transitioning to remote work. The impact financial hardships have brought on us continue to weigh, and even on our families. Some of my fellow classmates and students are working 2, 3, even 4 jobs while studying full-time in order to make ends meet, or even to help support their families. And many internships and full-time jobs that students work year-round to get have been postponed or more commonly canceled. All of this additional stress and worry has placed a really heavy burden on our ability to focus on what's most important, education. Personally, I felt it most when we had to go home in March and my off-campus housing rent was due, and I was faced with a lease for an empty house that I needed to pay for. When I was granted emergency assistance through Rutgers, a huge financial weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I was really able to go back and focus on my schoolwork. Unfortunately, however, these funds only cover so much, and many Rutgers students continue to face these hurdles like mine or worse. This is where you, the Rutgers engineering community, are coming through. As you know, this evening's virtual event is a fundraiser for the Engineering Student Emergency Fund, and by having purchased a ticket this evening, you've already contributed to helping students. This fund provides critical support for engineering students who continue to face financial challenges, which really endanger their ability to continue pursuing a Rutgers engineering degree. So far, due to your generosity and the generosity of our event sponsors, this event has raised nearly $140,000, which will be used to help with everything from remote learning, such as laptops, books to tuition assistance, and even emergency help to cover with basic living costs. But with demand so high from students in need, we're hoping to raise even more. Our event goal is $150,000. If you're able, please consider making an additional donation to the fund by clicking on the Donate Now button on the left sidebar. Any additional donation placed before midnight will be entered in a chance to win a special Rutgers Pride gift basket. On behalf of myself and all Rutgers engineering students, thank you so much for your support in this event and for your support of this really critical mission. Since we're all gathered here tonight, we also encourage you to connect with your fellow event attendees, students, faculty, alumni, and industry sponsors. You can do this by viewing the profiles of the attendees and requesting a connection with them via this event platform. This site, including the networking capabilities, will continue to be live and function for weeks following the event as well. Now, it's time for the second part of our event, presented by Aircastle Limited. The next hour will feature 3 20-minute-long breakout room sessions hosted by engineering department faculty and student organization representatives. On the agenda bar on the left, you'll find several breakout room options for each session, including information about topics and speakers, as well as a general discussion breakout room. You're welcome to come and go among any of these as you please. So I see that we're ending it right on time. So we'll look forward to an opportunity to hopefully gather in the future and celebrate together. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the rest of your virtual event, the rest of your evening, and thank you so much.
We already know what happens when there's not space for everyone, when there's not a seat at the table, a level playing field, or even a playing field at all. But at Rutgers School of Engineering, we've got space. Space that is all yours. Space to build. To build big ideas. That builds confidence. To build character. That builds momentum. To build bonds. That build careers. But most importantly, to build a future that makes space for all of us. Rutgers, the future must be built.